Hello again. We gather again with each conference that's visiting us here in St. John's University. And this week we have the pleasure of having many conferences visiting from especially Europe. And we have today with us Father Eugene Curran from Ireland, who's just recently serving 25th anniversary, right?
That's right.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Hopefully I'll look as good as you do when I get there. And Eugene, I had the pleasure of meeting 2 years ago in the General Assembly, and it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Eugene, what we usually do is just, if you'd like to share your vocation story, I know you've heard that many times, and I'm sure you're tired of repeating it, but I feel that it's important for especially the people in formation or the people discerning or are looking forward to hear other people's story, for us to make it known. So if you don't mind, sharing a little vocation story.
No, not at all. I suppose it started off fairly simply. I was at school, high school, reached 16 years old, was thinking about what I would like to do in life, and I was thinking I'd like to perhaps be a printer as my father was, and I realized that after a couple of years I'd probably not be interested in that it would, the interest would wear off. So I considered other careers, perhaps nursing, being a doctor, and I noticed I was thinking more then about being a teacher, teaching religion. And eventually one night I just thought to myself, I think you're trying to avoid something. I think, maybe it's just possible what you really are called to be as a priest. So I was young. I still had 2 years of what we called secondary school, high school to go. And I prayed about it, thought about it, met with some friends, met with people who advised me. I spoke to my parents when I was about 17, I suppose. And my mum said to me, Eugene, you're young, maybe you should wait a couple of years, go to college, finish your degree. My father said, Eugene, do what's right. If it feels right to go in when you're 18, go. If you need to wait till you're 62, wait till you're 62. But do what it feels right within yourself to do. And I found that very liberating. I found it really freeing to know that Mum and Dad were happy with whatever choice I made.
Supportive, yes.
And as the year went on, I thought, you know what? If I stay out, I'm really only staying out to see how much I want to stay out. I'm not seeing how much I want to be a priest, how much I want to be a Vincentian. So I reflected on it, prayed about it, and finished high school in 1979 when I was 18. And that August, I was accepted to seminary. Went in there, studied for 8 years, and was ordained in 1987.
Beautiful. I know you work now at All Hallows, which is kind of cool that we all in kind of university settings. Has that always been your ministry? Have you been attracted to university ministry?
Education has always been my ministry. I was in seminary. I was talking to my then director of students, and he said to me, we'd like you to go and study for your degree, and you will be teaching. And I was the only one of us who was told that I would be teaching. And I was happy with that. It was good. In 1987, I was appointed to our secondary school, high school for boys in Dublin, St. Paul's. Spent 9 years there and loved it. I really enjoyed teaching. I was teaching religion, French, and English. I still have contact with a lot of the guys that I was teaching then. They contact me for their weddings. I meet them, and it's a great experience. It's lovely to know, you touch people's lives and see what they've done with their own lives and how they're living them. Then in 1996, I was changed to one of our houses in London, which was a retreat and conference centre. That was different, but again, I suppose in the broad sense, it was education, formation, that kind of area, working more with adults. It was a great house. Damascus House was a great opportunity. The English church was very different. I met with some wonderful people and worked with some wonderful people, and it was a joint community. It was a very large house. At one end there was a community of the Confreres. At the other end there was a community of the Daughters of Charity, and we had a group of young people who lived community life in their own small community for a year, and they worked with us in giving retreats. It was a great experience, but unfortunately we realized that the house had really reached the end of its life, and it closed in 1998, at which point I went to Chicago to study for my doctorate, and in 2000 then I returned to Dublin and have been teaching in All Hallows ever since at various levels, mostly teaching adults. My main focus has been adult faith formation, adult development, and particularly education for people who haven't had the resources in the past, maybe of time, of educational background, or sometimes the financial resources for education.
Beautiful. Now, my last question is that I know sometimes we feel that in the world that we live in, sometimes that people are, especially the young adults, are not really into the answering what they want to become in the future. But I think it's so important that we who have this treasure of our Vincentian spirit and we receive this heritage, which is so special to us, what would you like to say to those who are either already in vocation, discerning, or are thinking about, discernment, thinking about the priesthood, or even becoming a daughter charity, or even committing themselves as a lay missionary? What would you like to tell them? What message would you give them?
I suppose one of the things like most of us have thought about this, I think a key thing is to realize that this is a way of life that is viable. You can live it. It's if it's for you, it's very life-giving. It's a wonderful way of life. That it's valuable. You make a contribution. That it's vital. It not only is life-giving to us, but it's life-giving to others. And it's valid. It's an important way of life. It's not the only vocation, but it is a significant one. I think I would encourage people to recognize that it is a call, as marriage is a call, as single life is a call, but it may be a call for you. Don't be afraid of it. Don't think, oh, that only applies to exceptionally holy people. Like all ways of life, you grow into it. I think of my sister, my two brothers who are married. Their marriages now are not what they were when they began them. You grow into your life, you grow into your marriage, you grow into your family. It's the same with vocation. I'm not now the person that I was in 1987. Thank God for that. I think I would say to people, have courage, have joy. The best piece of advice I got was from an old uncle of mine. He tried his vocation, and it hadn't worked. He left. But he said to me, Eugene, you really need two bones. You need a backbone to be able to face the challenges of it, and you need a funny bone. To recognize that like all life, it will have its ups and downs, it will have its moments of great joy, its moments of great sorrow, and it's the ordinary dailiness of life that you have to live in any way of life.
Which is a blessing itself.
Which is a blessing in itself.
Well, thank you, Eugene, for sharing, and God bless you. Many more years. And hopefully you continue with that joyful spirit that you bring, and whoever meets you has that kind of joyfulness. So thank you for sharing these moments.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to do.
Thank you, Eugene.
Thanks for asking me.